at what he does. You have here Chanakya, you see, what was Kautilya's king? Kautilya's king is basically a self-restrained enforcer of the law, right? That's what he is. But Ashoka declares himself the following: all men are my children. He then goes further to literally argue for a welfarist nanny state. He says, just as a parent entrusts his child to a wet nurse, the Rajuka officials have been appointed by me for the welfare and happiness of the people. Now here, all of you will appreciate that this is a completely different opinion of government officials. I mean, Kautilya would never have approved of the expansion of the state, and he would certainly not be talking about trusting the officials to be the wet nurses to the people. And he goes on, Ashoka. He says, he creates all these large numbers of rules and regulations. So if you go through Ashoka, he's a very realist, limited rules, clear what he's trying to do. But here you have Ashoka coming up with these kind of rules which are clearly sort of welfarist interventions into daily life. So here is another example of one of his rules. He says, in the 8th day of every fortnight, in the 14th and 15th of Tisa, Purnavasu, the 3 Chaturmasis and the other auspicious days, bull are not to be castrated. Goats, rams, boars and other animals that are to be castrated are not to be. On Tisa, Purnavasu and the fortnight of Chaturmasi, horses and bullocks are not to be branded. Now, as you can see, this is a very big difference with the practical rule making of the Arthashastra. I mean, if Kautilya had remained alive, he would have argued, what difference does it make to the bull what day of the month he's castrated? So you can see a very difference in opinion. And then Ashoka goes on about the expansion of the state. He expands the purview of the state into creating a cadre of something called the Dharma Mahamantas, which are basically the religious police. And they are given the job of going to people's houses and making sure that they're all following the Dharma and being pious and, doing good deeds. And although Ashoka goes at pains to say that, his Dharma Mahamantas do not enforce Buddhist religious laws on other groups, and he's quite explicit in being respectful towards non-Buddhists, the very fact that such social control existed, I would argue, is quite worrying.